Welcome to Innovate, Disrupt, or Die, the podcast where innovation isn't just an ideal, it's a way of life. I'm your host and creator of the Innovate, Disrupt, or Die newsletter, Danny Nathan. Hello, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Innovate, Disrupt, or Die, the podcast. This week, I have Wissem Maazoun with me. Wissem, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a real pleasure, to be here today and to talk about the innovation.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Wissem, tell me a little bit about your background, how it relates to innovation, and, why you're excited to be here talking to us.
It's innovation is a long path, but it starts somewhere, To me, it started at university. When I finished my undergrad, I was in computer science. By training, I am a computer scientist. But I chose at the end, to look at something different. And I did a master. The main purpose is how to work on images and signals. And at that time, how to separate blind signals. To me, how to use these details, you need to use the data. After that, I worked on image processing, and it was my first experience with data, with learning, items. But after that, I choose to go to PhD to deepen, my research. And it was the first thing I worked on flight plan optimization for aircraft to develop, real-time system for the flight paths. It was amazing, and at that time, I was how to do real-time things, how to use the data to reduce the computation time, how to deal with that. We were not talking about AI at that time, but it is the first step, how to use the data to optimize everything. And after that, when I finished, it was the Ivado, what's coming in Montreal, how to work with data valuation and how to make value with the data. I was a part of it with my PhD supervisor, and I did my postdoc, and we launched something. The idea of it is we are making a lot of innovation at universities. We are making innovation in industry, but sometimes they are not communicating.
Yeah.
And the first purpose of what I was doing, I'm talking about more than 15 years ago, it's about how to connect what we are doing innovation at university to industry, how to make this bridge between both, how to make a bridge. Later, I got, a position to direct the innovation with an organization, non-profit organization, which supported the connection university and businesses, how to bring, what we are developing, what we are innovating, because if we innovate and we don't make a product, it still die.
Yes.
The idea is how to make innovation living. And to live long time, you should bring it to the industry. It should be used by real products in the world. And it was that. After that, I was involved in banking system. And for the last 4 years, I was with BassPass. And this is like the amazing experience that we have, how to develop, innovative way to help people for the smart city, smart mobility, and so on. This is a little bit about my background. Yeah, I'm teaching university, and innovation is in my blood. It's like I live with it, I breathe it, and it is all the time the way that we survive and the pleasure of it when you see it as a product.
Yes, very much so. Awesome. There's a lot to unpack there. Would it be fair to say that your early work around understanding signals was sort of early efforts into computer vision and, what we might look at as computer vision today and helping cameras understand what they're seeing?
Yes, it is. My first project was about how to blind separate signals, whatever signals. If you are, let's take an example, the cocktail party. This is the easiest way. We have a cocktail party. A lot of people are speaking, around, but if we have several microphones, can we have every speech alone? Can we separate them? And the idea, we don't know how many people are there. We don't know what it is, how to use statistical independency to make the separation in a real time. The purpose is not to spy people. We are away from that. The purpose, if we have, for example, a sonar, for medical, and we have different organs of the person, how we separate them automatically, and we focus on the organ. It
Oh,
has a
wow.
lot of success before, but the idea is how to make it automated and how to get all together and separate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. I
This
mean,
is
I
my
can,
first experience. Yeah.
yeah, and I can immediately see where the wide variety of applications for that. I frankly, I wouldn't have thought about medical usage, but it makes perfect sense. And I'm sure there are applications, and I'm interested to learn as we continue chatting here. But my brain is already starting to connect your early work to at least what little I know of what you're doing today. So, you mentioned BusPass for a moment. Tell me a little bit more about BusPass and what as a company you're aiming to do in terms of building smart cities and how it leverages some of that early work.
BassPass started with a big idea, with my friend and the co-founder of BassPass, Yuval, who is a good friend. He has a very great idea. Today when we are talking about mobility, when we are talking about city, the first aspect that we talk in the city, how we make our movement, how we make our mobility. You cannot talk about city without having people to move from point A to point B.
Hmm.
If we see currently, and then especially in the last years, we are collecting a lot of data. We know if anyone is using any app. I'm using an Uber, there is a data for it because we know this person, we know that Wissem today is in an Uber. We use the transit, the public transportation. When I use my card, we know that I use the bus. The only point that is missing, if we see the big picture as a puzzle, and the missing piece is what's happening in the street. I cannot know. Wissam is waiting in the bus stop, for example.
Oh, got it. So the
I
moment,
don't have this information. And this
yeah,
is the most important information because if I would like to use the best usage of the transportation, I need to know what is the status of the system today.
right.
And the idea to do that, we should know everything about people, but everything about people is a big, big problem because we are talking
Yeah,
about privacy. This is
yeah.
the first aspect. How we do something without taking any privacy of people, without making any people uncomfortable, while we are having the perfect data that is consumable, that can be shared, that can be used, without any problems. And this is the beginning of BassPass. And how can we bring to the passenger the real-time information without making my hand in my pocket and take my phone and
Yeah.
search for a website? Let's make all
Gotcha.
this together. But how do I bring electricity and power to drive all this? And we think
Uh-huh.
about sustainable because we want to have a sustainable mobility. That's why we said, why we don't use solar panels and small batteries? And this is the idea. And we started to shrink everything to be fitted because AI and solar panel, it does not match.
Okay. Awesome. I want to back up for a moment. If I'm understanding correctly, effectively what you're driving at then is building a layer of understanding that for the moments that happen in between when people are generally using a data trackable system like an app. So as you said, if I get into an Uber, it knows where I'm going. If I swipe my bus pass or my card or whatever, it knows where I'm going. But you're trying to create intelligence around the moments in between. So when I'm waiting for the bus, for example, uh, you're looking to gather data around how long am I waiting, but then you're also using that data to hand it back to me and say, you're going to be waiting for 7 minutes for this bus, for example.
You know what? I am a guy that loves images and loves showing things. Let me show you
Oh,
what it
yeah,
is about.
please.
This is our baby. It has a back. This is a panel that is installed in the bus stop.
Okay.
Now I have a picture. It's not running, but to make it saving energy, we use e-paper, color e-paper. E-paper,
Oh,
as
very
you
cool.
see, it's
Yeah,
colorful. Even if it's not connected at all, the picture is very nice. One item also it's 4K colors, but still we did a lot of AI to make it very, very good. If you see,
nice.
this is LA, and the idea is we have sensors in the back, microphones, lighting to help people, PIR for proximity, camera 360 view in the top. This one, it will be in the top of the bus stop.
Okay.
People will see Here, I'm not updating real time because it's not
Yeah, of
on,
course.
but it shows, you see, when is the bus arriving for people with vision problems. We have a button too. You push the button and you have the voice annunciation when your bus arrives.
Okay.
This is our product. We have inside it, we designed everything electronics inside it. You cannot see inside. This is our device, but we designed everything with an NVIDIA chip that it may run all the systems and it may run all AI models offline without any privacy problems.
Wow. So that's running all of the AI models at the edge as well without a connection, basically.
And with low energy.
That sounds like an amazing device. I can only imagine the R&D that went into getting cameras and sensors and speakers and a 4K color e-ink screen all into one device. Talk to me a bit about how that came to life and what the process has been.
The big issue, first of all, it's how to make everything work offline. To make it working with the small chip, CPU, GPU, NVIDIA, we are using the Orin Nano, which is very small with 8 gigabyte of RAM, of memory, for the GPU and CPU together, how to make running the computer vision models. Because computer vision are big models.
Yeah.
The idea is we don't encode any videos. We don't have to encode any videos. That means there is no video that is visible for people.
Right.
And after that, this video just process it in the CPU real time. And the only thing is identifying what's happening. Are there people? How many? Are they in certain region? How many in this region? Are there cars? Counting buses, counting bikes. Knowing how much time people are waiting in the bus stop. This is important information. Is there someone who waited for the bus, but still the bus came, it's full, he did not get in? To get this information, it's useful to know if I should increase, my capacity as transit agency, for example, how to share all this data, how to secure the place, how to say there is a problem, there is a glass there, and we should clean it. How to see the cleanliness, how to see if there is graffiti, how to see, for example, someone parked in the bus stop, which is not allowed, and it's a problem because the bus, it will have delays. And how to reduce it? Let's start by controlling this area. Oh, I have a car stop there. Can I send the message to the transit to do something? I don't care about the person who is the person there. If it's X, Y, or Z, it's not a problem. I need to know there are people, how many, for how much time they are waiting. Earlier I told you we have the data of Uber, but can you see it yourself? You cannot, because it's private, because it has my name on it. You cannot share it with others. The data that we are producing does not have name, does not affect any person. It can be shared. And that's why it can be solving for a lot of other problems.
It's fascinating, Wissem. And you said that you're not storing any of the video content. You're processing it in real time, producing the metadata, and effectively the metadata is the product, the output, if you will.
Exactly.
Interesting. And so basically then, you don't, as you said, you don't know who I am. You don't care who I am. You just want to know that there's a warm body waiting for the bus, that he was there for 10 minutes and so on and so forth. Interesting. Wissem, talk to me a little bit about who else is using this data. You mentioned that you have an app store, that is the data available freely? Do you monitor who uses the data and what it gets used for? Tell me about what that ecosystem looks like.
This is the good question, because we are building really an ecosystem. It's what we called ourselves our Aura ecosystem. This ecosystem it is an open and inclusive platform that we built ourselves, the full platform that controlling all the edge devices, that's controlling everything. And we have portals, we have dashboards. Now we have a lot of collaboration, like with people, for example, shelter for bikes, shared bikes, shared scooter. It can be used with them too. I have people looking for them, but there is no charging station for e-scooter or e-bikes, for
Right.
example. Today we are seeing that. Today it's normal in our life. E-bikes and e-scooter is a part of what we are seeing in the street with us. How to help them share that? It's good for charging station for cars. How we'll share it? Yeah, for sure. We'll share it with partners to API to secure it. It's all secured. It's not the data that we are pushing like this, but still we are using it, for example, with companies that are building dashboards and
Hmm.
AI dashboards, for transit agencies. It's shared with the city. It can be shared with the police. It can be shared with the municipality for cleaning, all this to have alerts, to have, can we clean this area? Can be shared with the police too. I have this person is using the reserve lane for the bus because we are making reserve lane. We are expending a lot of money from our taxes to use this
Yeah.
lane for buses to have a fluid mobility for the citizen. If we use it incorrectly, we will reduce this mobility and we will reduce the effect of these items. And we are sharing with them. We are sharing also with others that can build other applications with this data. And it's all through our platform, and through our ecosystem or ecosystem. The most important part, what we are doing is how to help people. The purpose of what we are doing is how we use AI for the good, how we use AI for humanity. It's very important to us to have something that is helping people. It's simple thing like having a button, to push on it. And
Yeah.
people with problem with the visual, cannot use the iPhone. You push a button and you hear when your bus arrives in 2 minutes. It's comforting. Offering lighting that it is small, that it is lighting only when there is people and when it's dark to reduce all the power consumption. It's very important. People sometimes they are not comfortable, using bus in the night during night because
Yeah.
they don't feel secure. When you bring lighting, it makes people, more comfortable. The idea is how to make a space secure, how to make a space usable for everyone, how every person can use this space and can use this technology without having their privacy as
Hmm.
you know as a problem.
Interesting. Wissem, can you tell me a little bit about the business model around the Aura platform? I mean, I'm not clear on who's paying for the data, who's not. I'm assuming that there are deep partnerships with the municipality and so on and so forth. Uh, Tell me a little bit more about sort of how the business meets the innovation.
First of all, that's why we are making the display, because transit agency need to give the information to people. They
Hmm.
will install it at least to have the real-time information. This is like signs in the bus stop. We're seeing them
Yeah.
more and more. This is our main business. This is how we get to business. To get to business, okay, you want sign to have people to show information, you have it. We build it all easy to have a content management system that is very easy to use. From the office of the transit of the city, you can push any message, real
Wow.
time to the passengers. You have a signage that you can control. This is the first step as a business model. You can get it. Now, a lot of other models, like we are a partner with another partner who is Safer Smart Zones. Safer Smart Zones, they are controlling the reserve lanes. They are using our platform, for example, as we are talking about partnership and about how
Hmm.
to use the data. Since we are not recording, we don't need to record. Safer Smart Zone, they are connecting the camera for license plate recognition, but it's not running because if it's running, it's a lot of privacy. They don't only to have evidence when there is any problem. When we detect with our 360 camera, we detect any evidence. That means someone is parked in the bus stop, someone is using a reserve lane. Now it's triggered immediately. The second camera take a shot of this, and they got it directly. They
Got
are
it.
using our data and they are getting it, and it's tickets at the end. But still, the main purpose is how to prevent the wrong usage of the space. Now we have the agencies, the transit agency, that they need this signage because it's important to give, the ETA for passengers and to
Hmm.
give information. There is a detour. The next step is to bring the data, and now the data, yeah, it's a platform that you will pay monthly fees,
Okay.
and you will have it. It's selling units because it's our product.
Absolutely. Wissam, how many units are out in the wild, or how many cities are you deployed in?
We started production, it was in 2024. We
Okay.
are startup still.
Yeah, of
Now
course.
I have, here in Quebec, I have in different cities, I have around 50 installed working. I
Okay.
have probably tomorrow or by the end of this week, I have 15 will be installed in Barcelona, in Spain.
Nice.
I have 2 units in LA, Los Angeles.
Hmm.
We are installing in New Jersey the next weeks. It's finalizing. The units are ready to be installed. We have in Miami. You know, we have a lot moving forward now.
Yeah.
We are like in
Yeah.
a
It sounds like
rush.
you've got a lot going on.
Lot going on, a lot of big projects. We are having a lot of partnership now for the World Cup of football, which is coming US, Canada. We have for the LA for the Olympics.
Yeah.
It's a lot of common items. It's exciting. It's very exciting. A lot of work. Our teams, are very
I'd
are
imagine you
very
guys are
busy.
getting pretty busy these days, given all the installation. That's
Yeah,
so interesting. Wissam, I'm curious. You mentioned at one point, like, if somebody's parked in the bus lane, for example, that you could alert emergency services to come in and deal with them, for example. Um, how are you handling the distribution of all of those alerts and the sort of if then moment of, if I see a car, take a picture of the license plate, call the authorities, have somebody come and ticket the driver, tell them to move, whatever it is. I mean, just having built systems like that myself, the underlying amount of consideration, UX, programming, etc., necessary to enable all of that must be huge.
yes, it took us 4 years developing that. Lot of investment thanks to our founder, Yuval, who already put it lot. It's a lot of investment, a big investment. Thanks also to the government of Canada, the government of Quebec with the funding. Because when they saw our project, they saw the impact. We
Hmm.
got a lot of funding from the governments too, that
Nice.
helped us. For sure, also I will say it's not a secret, but what we did, for the last years, we we started with young people,
Hmm.
especially from university, who are the biggest expert today of AI. We started with very young people that are eager to, as I said since the beginning, my first items was how to make the bridge between university. We did something new, and it need new, fresh minds.
Yes.
And we started with the new, fresh minds. I have 15 people working in my team today.
Have you developed partnerships with universities and things like that to help discover who the
Sure.
sort of up and comers are and funnel them in?
Exactly. We have lot of projects with universities. The big secret today is about the IP, the intellectual property, and everyone is talking about intellectual property.
Hmm.
The purpose of AI is a fast pace. AI is a fast paced technology today. It's moving forward. That means if you want to keep your intellectual property, the idea is to continue innovation. Innovate, then innovate, then innovate, no stop innovation. Innovation is starting with R&D, and I like these two words. When you start innovation, you have your R here and your D lower. And the more you found the results, it makes the balance up to small R and big D. To keep this R all the time, to me, this is my thoughts all the time. To keep in all this relationship with the university because they are continuing doing the R.
Yes.
The R will not be reduced, and you continue innovating.
Yes. Uh, so Wissam, I find that really interesting. You are the second person that I have interviewed who has talked heavily about the connectivity between sort of research and industry, or research and development, as you put it, and who is leveraging uh, university connections and partnerships to help grow the relationship and the capability between those two. Um, Talk to me a little bit about what your relationships with those universities look like. Do you all have special programs where you're literally working directly with the universities? Um, what happens, for example, if if a university student develops something that you all think would have a huge impact on your system? How do you go about partnering with that person or bringing them into the fold and handling the IP and figuring out, do we publish the research paper so that that researcher gets their notoriety, for example, or is there some other payoff, for lack of a better term, recognition, financial benefit, whatever it is, for the researcher, the university student, that comes to bear through the partnership with you all?
I have a lot of programs. We're building now a big, huge project with universities too as a research. We are funding PhDs, masters, and postdocs. We are funding all their research from A to Z.
Wow.
And these people are coming to our office or making their research oriented with our product. It's not, they
Interesting.
are not doing something and they am taking it. We are publishing. We are publishing a lot of papers now.
Okay.
We have a lot of papers with, as I said, sooner, it's like the idea of protecting IP today is not about patent. It's not about hiding things. No, we
Yeah.
are publishing everything. It's open source, but we move fast. We move fast. The idea is
Yes.
how to continue moving fast. That's mean now I have several, now I am in a lot of projects. I have a couple, probably 7, 8 students, but it happens sometimes I have almost 20 students working in the office.
Wow.
PhD, masters,
Yeah.
postdoc, they are working, they know the product, they are orienting their research how to use the product in the correct way. It's like we have a lot of research that was done on multimodal transportation, multimodal mobility,
Hmm.
how to share mobility, because the solution for mobility is on not only buses.
Right.
When we have a bus that is moving with 1 or 2 people, it's not sustainable. It's easier to take a taxi or to use the sharing bike. But what our ecosystem is doing, how to connect all the dots to be a network. And that's why we called our device the SINE, SCINE, which is stand for Smart City Network.
Okay.
How to build the full network with dots, and then when we connect all these dots, you have all the connection. For example, we did a lot of research how we integrate other, modality of transportation to the transit to help it. Because sometimes the bus in the rush hour is using too much. But after that, what we do with the bus, how we transport people outside the rush hours, especially,
Right.
in a rural area or especially in suburb, when we are talking to suburban areas, how we deal with that. A lot of research that we are doing in that area. Yeah, for sure, we are doing a lot of computer vision, but still a lot of research in the edge computing too.
Uh, all right. I have sort of a projective question for you, Wissam. You obviously you spend a ton of time thinking about what a smart city might look like. If your research and your work were to come to fruition in whatever way you think would be successful, and I use that in your terms, what do you think the smart city of tomorrow will look like? What's going to change?
When we look at our cities today, we have a lot of horrible things. Just,
Hmm.
when we see all cars coming in, if we start with mobility, the mobility is one of the, of the building stones of the smart city.
Hmm.
Because if we go to school, we need to go to school. How to go to school? With big cities, today, if I see any big city in the world, I'm not talking about New York City. I'm not talking about LA or about Montreal or about Toronto or about Paris. Any big city, it attracts a lot of people.
Yes.
And the more people that we attract, the more we will have big city with a lot of suburbs. Inside a big city, the mobility is not difficult.
Right.
It's not easy, but it's not difficult because we can have buses all the day, it's used.
Right.
But how to bring, if we take the suburbs, and this is the most important for us, one of the most important, how to bring these people to the big city.
Hmm.
Because if someone, if we see, for example, people working in New York City, a lot of them are living in New Jersey City. But how to bring these people, if all these people came with, take their car, to go to New York City, we will not find space for parkings.
Right.
And it's horrible. It's people turning around. It's pollution. It's sound pollution. It's noise. It's pollution of the air. We can take all other, source of pollutions is included. We cannot have a small city without having the tools to transport people from
Right.
point A to point B, to go to hospital, to go to school, to go to family, to go to work. This is
Hmm.
our, this is the most important. If we can have a good mobility system who is sustainable, who is smart enough, the smart city can be designed well. After that, the health system, the banking system, it's
Right.
all connected. But let's start by the building stone. The cornerstone of the smart city starts with mobility, and mobility starts with being inclusive. That means it's not only for people who are using all the day their cell phones that can access to the data. When we have people with problems, with vision problems, they can have access to the data. And to improve all this, we need to have the data from the sites, from the city.
Hmm. Wissam, who's doing it well today? What city is well ahead of everybody else, or what city would you point at as like an exemplar?
Barcelona. We
Interesting.
won last year the award of the innovation for smart cities. The award was given to BassPass, and that's why we are starting this installation. They were very eager to get to this technology.
Wissam, you said something interesting earlier. You said innovation must be a living thing. Talk to me a little bit more about what you mean by that and what makes innovation a living thing.
Uh, Let me tell you something. What we have now, the product that we have today, the solution, this is what we planned 4 years ago.
Hmm.
What we are doing now, what you will see in 3, 4 years.
Gotcha.
It's a good plan. It takes a good plan. It takes a lot of resilience. It takes a lot of effort. The thing that is very important with innovation, that the success is not 100%.
Yes. Yes.
You
So
accept the
much.
failure. If you don't accept failure, you cannot innovate. We can have failures, but the idea how to learn from failures that we have. And also, every time that we are not, I reached the point and then I will think what I will do. No. When I start to having the success, I know now, we are reaching it. It's like the D will continue. I have other R coming. And this is the balance between the R and the D. That's why it's a living, because it's the transfer between the R and the D, and how you make your R all the time working. How you think about what is next step, not today. What is the next step in a year? Because it's
Mm.
also fast paced. We don't think about a lot of 5 years. Yes, we are planning 5 years. We have the strategies of 5 years. And you know what? When I got hired, I'm the CTO of the company, but my title is the VP Innovation. I love innovation. We are doing technology, but technology, it cannot survive without having the innovation back in it.
Right.
And that's why we are here at BusPas, we are using the technology and innovation together. And innovation is to continue, is to have the thinking about the next steps before you are reaching the goal. It's all the time you have a new goals. All the time you have a new vision. Okay, today we have this data. What is the next step? What I can do more with this data? How can I reduce more? How can I do better things? What is the next step is now.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Fantastic. Wissam, I have one last question for you. You're clearly dedicated to the idea of innovation, and I can see how it guides your work. How do you build that culture across your team? How do you give your team permission to fail in a way that they're confident in?
First of all, it's about confidence. It's about trust. We trust people. Uh, I told you before that I have very young people around me,
Yes.
and this is very big challenge because they have a lot of ideas. These people are not here to write code. These people are here with a lot of ideas. When you work with them, I listen. I need to know what are their ideas. And even if I have my idea and I have how to do it, I never tell to my team. I let them. And you know what? I am always surprised. I am always happy that someone comes with something. Wow. And also, it's about accountability. They know that I am accountable. Taking this responsibility, it allows people to go forward, to go deeper, and to find the new solutions because they are not scared. Yes,
Yes.
but you should be in control. It's how to build KPIs, but how to follow without micromanaging people and without reducing their ideas.
Yes.
People, everyone has idea. We are not today, we don't choose coders. People, programmer, it's not obsolete, but still, you can use any cloud or GPT or you will make
Right.
the programming items. It helps a lot. It makes the most of the job. What we need is the idea, is the architecture, is how to go, further with these ideas. It's a big challenge. I am not saying that it is easy, but when you have a good team that I thank all the time and it's never enough with their ideas, with their thinking, I don't need you to write code. I need you to think. And even sometimes I am scared a little bit about idea, but I let them go. Most of the time it works and I am surprised. Sometimes it happens. And that's why I said you should accept the failure. And if you
Sure.
make it only with your ideas, your ideas are limited. Your ideas will finish. Yeah, you can have more and more, but 1 + 1 is all the time greater than 2.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Wissam, this has been truly and utterly fascinating. I really appreciate your sharing all of the work that you're doing, and I'm blown away. I truly appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today. As I said, it has been utterly fascinating. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting me and to give me this opportunity, to speak to people and to tell them how to do it. Because the idea is not only what we did, it's to open to everyone. Innovation, it's important. Today, especially, because the technology is very fast paced. And
Yes.
given me this opportunity to speak about it, it's amazing. Thank you very much. And thank you for everything that you are doing, with this podcast. It's very important talking about a special item, which is innovation.
That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to Innovate, Disrupt, or Die, the podcast. Join us again for our next episode, and don't forget to subscribe at innovatedisruptordie.com. That's all, folks.